Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to another video. This is going to be a story time. And this literally happened like 3 days ago. So, to get some background, I have POTS. If you don't know what POTS stands for, that stands for postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. I got diagnosed with it in November. It affects a lot of different things, such as your heart rate, your blood pressure. It mainly affects your autonomic nervous system. So the typical issues we've had is my heart rate will be like in the hundreds. Like my new normal resting heart rate is between 100 and 120. So on Thursday, I just wasn't feeling well. I felt off. I don't know if you guys know that feeling where you just feel like something is off, but you can't explain like what it is. That's what I was feeling. So I went to my school nurse. She had checked my temperature because my admin assistant told her, like the admin in my building told her that I felt really warm. So she checked my temperature and I was 99.4, which is low grade, but it's somewhat at this thing an occurring thing at this point. But I also just felt really lightheaded and just felt very off. So she actually gave me some liquid IV to try to see if some electrolytes would help, with some of that stuff, because my pulse was 46. That is really low for me. If my normal resting heart rate is between 100 and 120, that's really low, especially in the 40s. So I sat in there until I went to lunch. I went to lunch, still felt super off. And then I went and had to take a test. After my test, I asked if I could go back to the nurse. I went to our main student health center. No one was over there, so I went to the other school building where the same nurse who I saw earlier was. At that point, my head was hurting like really bad. So we walked over to the main student health center so she could give me my migraine med, because I do have a migraine care plan in place. So she went ahead and gave me that. And my heart rate was still low. It was like between 47 and 50. So I went back to class, and like my teachers took us outside to the playground, and I love going on the playground. I did not. I went and slept on a bench because I just felt horrible. And so fast forward to after school. On Thursdays, we clean. So my dorm supervisor thankfully she said, why don't you go upstairs and rest for like 30 minutes and then start cleaning. I slowly cleaned. So I went back at like 4 something to get a second dose of my migraine med, because they can give me my second dose within 2 hours of taking the first one. So they can give it to me after 2 hours. So it had been 2 hours, so she went ahead and gave it to me. And then at like 7, I went back over there because I just was not feeling well. So she checked my pulse and it was like 50, 52. So then she decided to check my blood pressure, which was 130, which was the top number. I don't remember what the bottom number was, but 130 is high for me. I'm usually between like 115 and 120. So she went ahead and texted my mom, basically saying, hey, because my mom was at work, but the school nurses know that, so like they'll text her, and then if my mom can talk, she'll tell them to call them, or like she'll tell me to have them call her. And so she went ahead and texted my mom just saying, hey, like my nurse is like, I'm very uncomfortable with how low her pulse is. I'm not comfortable with her staying tonight. However, my mom was at work, and so my mom called me at so I'm getting ahead. So I went back for my meds around like 8:30 because I take evening meds as well. So I went and got my meds around 8:30. She said she hadn't heard anything back from my mom, but she would let my dorm supervisor know. if she heard anything back. So after getting evening meds, my dorm supervisor told me to go upstairs, take a shower, and get in bed, and to let her know when I was out of the shower and in bed. So she came upstairs, she gave me a hug, and she told me that if at any point I felt sick or anything, to text the dorm phone. My mom called me at like 10, said, hey, I got the nurse's text message, please tell your nurse to call me. So I texted my dorm supervisor. I said, hey, my mom told me to have the nurse call her. Could you please relay that message to the nurse? She said, okay, let me see if the nurse is still here, because the nurse, our evening nurse, like the nurse that's in the evening leaves at 10. So I guess they did end up talking. And I want to say that they came to the conclusion of, my mom told them that if at any point in the middle of the night I got any worse or anything else happened, to call EMS, because EMS would be able to get to me quicker than she would, because my mom works overnights at a hospital. So at around like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, I woke up. My head was hurting so bad, and I felt so dizzy. I went ahead and texted the phone, and my dorm supervisor did text me back and said, I'm aware of, if you don't feel well, to call 911. So she came upstairs and she did call 911. And then like the main dorm person, she came over. Our overnight security guard also came over. He went to meet EMS at like our front gate, like where they pulled up. She had all my medical paperwork ready. She called my mom to let my mom know that they did go ahead and call EMS, and my mom had asked her to ask them to take me to a specific hospital, which was the one that my mom was working at. Thankfully, they were able to do that. So EMS got there pretty quickly, actually. They went ahead and put all the stickers on my chest and everything, and did like a 12-lead EKG, whatever you want to call it. They put me on the pulse ox, and my heart rate was fluctuating between 45 and 60 throughout the whole time. It was especially in the 50s, lower 50s. They took my blood sugar just to see, and it was like 84. They weren't concerned about that because it was 4 o'clock in the morning and I hadn't eaten since like 7 or 8 o'clock the previous night. So for having a blood sugar of 84 at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, they weren't surprised about. So they went ahead and decided to take me into the ER. So they got me on the stretcher, took me to the ambulance, and I went to the ER. And then my dorm supervisor, I think, went ahead and called our school nurse, who was working Thursday evening, because technically she was on call, just to kind of let her know that, yes, we did end up calling EMS, and they did take me in. Just that way they were aware. They let everybody who needed to know. Once we got to the ER, they went ahead and drew some labs. And the ER doctor, he went ahead and he did what's called a migraine cocktail through my IV to help break the migraine, and it did break finally around like 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning. My heart rate was still super low, but they were comfortable with discharging me and having me go home, and we could monitor it from home. But yeah, it was really scary, guys. I had never been in an ambulance ever, so it was just a little scary and like nerve-wracking. But the EMS guys were very nice. I'm so happy that my school reacts so quickly, and that they automatically know what to do, and that they do communicate with my mom so well, to where they did have this plan in place. And just, they're so on top of things, and they really do pay attention to our health, and really do try to communicate to the parents about things, and try to have a plan in place about things. But yeah, guys, that is a story time of how my school called EMS for me, and I got taken to the hospital in an ambulance. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you guys do, please give this video a thumbs up. Please comment, subscribe. Please comment down below on what kind of videos in the future you guys would like to see, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!